Mash ends up in Magia Lupa's stronghold. The leader is Abel Walker. He is holding a puppet in his arm. Abel recognizes Mash as the student that got a gold coin and asks him on why he wants to be a divine visionary. Mash explains that it is because he wants to live peacefully with his family. Because Abel is from Lang Dormitory, he assumes the divine visionary is the person who created their world. He also thinks that Mash is too weak to be the god of creation. Mash then asks Abel the same question. Different from Mash, who has a simple intention, Abel intends to return the world to its rightful form. Furthermore, he talks about humans. Humanity flourished because they devoured and used the weak. However, now they are sheltering them and fighting for equality. He states that humans are beasts and the law of nature is that the strong devour the weak. He thinks that equality, mercy, and protecting the weak are rubbish. Mash understands his words and concludes that he too wants to live in peace. Abel takes his words as hostility, but Mash apologizes as it wasn't his intention. Abel agrees to let Mash go in exchange of his gold coin, but Mash refuses. Abel then attacks him using Silva's puppet. Mash slams the puppet on the ground, cutting its cords, which reverts Abel's magic and returns Silva back to human. Abel is angry and uses another puppet to attack Mash. Mash doesn't find the puppet to be of challenge, but then another bigger and stronger puppet grabs him from behind. Mash is surprised by its strength, and only watches it as it takes his coin and throws it at Abel. As he is released from the puppet, he walks towards it while apologizing for underestimated Abel's puppet. But he accidentally steps on Silva, and he decides to take him to the nurse station. Seeing that, Abel is surprised and wonders if Mash is giving up on his coin. Mash explains that he isn't, but it is prioritizing Silva. Furthermore, Mash states that no matter how strong Abel is, he doesn't intend on losing. After Mash leaves, Abel praises Mash's confidence. He wonders if this is because Mash doesn't think or other reason. Furthermore, Abel feels something isn't right. He then notices that his puppet is missing a button. He checks the coin he got and is shocked to see it is the button. One of the Magia Lupus members isn't sure what she saw is real. She tells him the puppet took the coin from Mash and threw it at Abel. However, the moment the puppet threw the coin, she saw Mash rip the puppet button with his mouth and spit it at such speed. The button caught up and hit the gold coin. After that, Mash used his lungs to suck up the coin.
キノコ頭が人形がコインを弾いたすごい勢いで飛ばして空中で弾いて肺活量で吸いました。面白い。
Sometime later, Silva wakes up at the nurse office and is surprised to find he has returned to his human form and wonders what had happened to him. He sees Mash on the floor exercising and guesses that he brought him here and wonders why. Mash states that when one of them is in trouble, they all are in trouble, but ends up biting his tongue and leaves after that. Silva seems to think Mash's words earlier. Scene switches to Adler's room 302. Lance and Dot are staring at each other. Lance asks him why he is there and why he changed his hairstyle. Dot seems reluctant to tell him. But it turns out he changed his hairstyle because he thinks Lemon seems to like guy with hair bang. Lance and Dot get annoyed by each other and start arguing and prepare to fight. Mash then comes in breaking the door and tells them that if they intend to break something, to go outside. Dot then gives him a parcel that surprises Finn. Although he looks fierce, but he has manner when visiting other people's room. Finn is shocked by their conversation. Lance is talking while chewing his cream puff. On the other hand, Lance is talking about their plan to get the coin, and Dot, who talks his wish to get a girlfriend. Moments later, Lemon comes bringing bad news and asks them to come with her. She takes them to the magic scale that displays how many gold coins each dorm has. Surprisingly, it points out that Lang dorm has 15 gold coins, while the other two dorms has 1 gold coin each. At this rate, Lemon thinks Lang dorm will produce the next divine visionary. Seeing Lemon so excited makes Dot likes her even more. After listening to Lemon's explanation, Lance thinks he can't achieve his goal if they don't stop Lang Dorm, which Mash agrees.
よく見てください。レアン量がほとんどの金のコイン。それに対して私たちアドに対抗できる私たちのレアンが他量からコインの乱量は、純血主義の生徒たちは基本研究に没頭いけないということです。
みんながわかるようにちゃんと。
自分、頑張ってくださいね。
消さねば、俺の目的。
よっしゃこれ！
荒れた平和を取り戻すため。
頑張ってね。
Moment later, Mash is given punishment by the headmaster Wahlberg for his action. Wahlberg put him on cleaning the owl's hut for 1 week. Lance decides to join Mash and help him, as it is possible that Lang attack Mash for his coin. The scene switches and shows 2 Magia Lupus members are walking along the forest. At the same time in the owl hut, the owls peck at Mash's head. Just then, the 2 Magia Lupus members come and attack Mash and Lance using sea field, creating small sea area under Mash and making him fall in it. They then introduce themselves as Olor Andrew, the 6th Fawn, and Answer Shinri, the 7th Fawn. They explain they are after their gold coin, and challenge them by betting on 1 gold coin. Meanwhile, Mash seems to get drowned as he has never swum before. Olor tells him to not worry as he will join him soon. He then uses Sea Shark and turns himself into a shark and jumps into the water with Mash. Thus, Mash will face Olor, and Lance will face Answer.
我らマギアルプス。
面白い。
さあ、早速。もうすぐ行きますよ。シャーク。狩りの時。
Answer starts attacking Lance using shuriken on him, who easily dodges, and seeing that Answer uses magic to only control the shuriken, he realizes he will easily stop him with his gravity magic. However, just before he casts it, he sees some owls around Answer and stops, since his sister may complain that he hurt them. Answer uses shuriken double, and seeing owls behind him, Lance decide to take on the attack. Answer recognizes that Lance is from the Crown family, and thinks Lance ran off from Crown family because he is too weak. Annoyed with Answer's bullshit, Lance uses small-scale graviole, that makes Nazer thinks he only has that power.
なく気持ちがいい人は他人と比較するようだよ。お前、グラビオル。もう十分だ。クラウン家を倒して俺を。
Answer intends to beat Lance, who is from Crown family, to look special. He uses Shurikith triple to attack Lance, but Lance casts Graviole, making the he shurikens hit the ground and break. Lance explains that the owls were in a way, so he had to move them. Answer then realizes that he used the shovel to open a bag of feed, which lured all owls there, and that he wasn't attacking him all this time because he was worried about the owls. Angry, Answer brings out a new shuriken and attacks with large shurikith, his strongest spell, but it gets easily smashed by Graviole. Answer is surprised by their great gap power. Lance then explains the difference between them, and states Lance is fighting for superiority, while he is fighting over one thing. Lance states that those who fight for themselves never stand a chance against his determination to save his little sister. On the other hand, Olord is in his sea field, laughing that Mash can never escape his endless sea. Suddenly something passes by him with a large speed. Olor refuses to believe that could be Mash, since humans can only swim at maximum 10 kilometers per hour. While searching for Mash, Olor is shocked by Mash, who again passes by him, shocking Olor and recalling that Mash said he can't swim. Mash then passes by again and states he actually could swim more than he thought. He thanks Olor for making him to swim. Seeing Mash swimming around him, he decides to become serious and uses Sea Shark evolution, transforming himself into a monstrous shark.
言えません。狩られる側の気持ち。いいでしょう。シーシャーク。
However, Mash starts punching him and easily defeats him. Finally, Lance and Mash defeat 2 Magia Lupus members, and Lance takes a gold coin from Olor. Lance feels that if Magia Lupus are this strong then they have a chance. Suddenly, another Magia Lupus member shows up, stating that they are jumping to conclusions. In an instant he then gets behind Mash and Lance. Lance uses Graviole, but realizes he can't use magic. Mash prepares for a dash. The masked man tries to explain that he is there only to take their allies. However, Mash rushes at him and attempts to punch him, since he is quite menacing. In an instant, however, he teleports behind Lance, dodging Mash's attack. The man then takes his allies into a magic bottle and leaves. After he leaves, Lance takes his words back and states that crushing Magia Lupus would be worthwhile. Meanwhile, Mash is thinking of what is going on. Outside, the masked man notices that his mask cracks. He notes that Mash had incredible speed and no magic, which makes him the same type as him. The scene opens by showing the masked man we saw in the previous episode. Somehow, but very easily, the Orca dormitory student was defeated very easily. On the same night, it turns out that someone has just been made into a doll by Abel Walker. The next morning, Lance is discussing strategies for wiping out the dormitory Lang's Magia Lupus Magia, while Mash is seen making homemade eclairs again. After deciding to scout out the locations of the Lupus Magias to snatch their coins, he gets a Mash that focuses solely on his own eclairs. After that, Lance asked Mash to wear their dorm robes. Mash was a bit surprised because the robes had their Adler hostile symbols on them. Shortly after, Lemon came and looked very panicked, which is where it seems something happened to Tom. While Mash, who was more concerned with Lemon eclairs, kept forcing him by repeating the same words, and in the end the three of them seemed to meet Tom, who was in the UKS. Lemon then asked what really happened to him. Tom also told him that he didn't really remember about it, but there was one thing he remembered before waking up in the UKS. Which he admits that he can't dream when he sleeps. Even worse, even though he can't dream, Tom feels like he's in a dream and he's trapped in a very dark box there. Even though he knows it's just a dream, he still feels fully aware. Even though he wasn't experiencing any major physical problems, Tom felt that he couldn't cast magic for a while. He also felt that his magic energy was barely felt at all. Lance, who understands, seems to look around them. All the patients there also experienced the same thing as Tom, and all of that happened because Wahlberg was being summoned to the Magic Bureau. Hearing all that made Lemon give her a stuffed eclair with a ribbon in the Mash, which was meant to be a good luck charm for her. Lemon also asked Mash not to push himself too hard in the future. Mash also reminded him of Lemon's words just now. Not only that, Lemon also asked Mash to continue carrying the doll and keep thinking about it. At night, Lance, Mash, and also Finn are seen walking down the halls of the dormitory. Lance originally intended to invite Mash, but these two friends had other goals. Which is where doesn't want to lose to them about coins, while Finn only feels scared when left alone in the room. Shortly after that, they noticed a Lemon walking in a rather odd way down the hallway. Who had a nosebleed at the sight of her seemed intent on lunging at it. But suddenly the Lemon has turned into a doll like Silva before. It can be seen that Mash and friends are hiding from the Lemon doll. In the middle of them talking about what was going on, Finn saw a Lemon going somewhere. Not wanting the Lemon to be dangerous, Mash immediately ran after him. Finn also told the Lemon that had just turned right. They thought the road in front of them was just a dead end, but at the same time Finn heard something and seemed to ask but when thought Finn was just scaring him, he heard it after a while. Seeing that his two friends hugged Mash because of his fear, Lance asked them both to be quiet. He then appears to be using disclosure magic. After, a door appeared right on the floor in front of them, but Lance informed himself that he could only show his form. Then tried to open it with her bomb magic, but unfortunately failed. In the midst of a headache because the squad machine gun and explosive magic couldn't scratch the door at all, Mash seemed to take one of the knight statues there and lay it near the door. His three friends seemed confused about what Mash was doing. After making a little gap, Mash seemed to be preparing with a sword with his face tucked between the doors, and it turned out that this was what he really wanted to do. Whether the door is strong or the death crash is still too overpowered, but what is clear is that the door that just flew out of the academy can easily penetrate several floors above it. Before entering it, you still seem to be looking at the doll the Lemon gave before and apologize for not being able to keep its promise. Long story short, after walking down the long hall for quite a while, they arrived at a room that looked like a duel arena. Not long after that, a man appeared who told him that the arena was an ancient duel field, even though he was not from Magia Lupus, but this man admitted that he had asked for help with the third dance from Magia Lupus. The man then invites one of them to duel him and bet their coins. Lance, who was originally about to fight him, is seen being stopped by a Dot. With great confidence, Dot looks forward and will have a mechanical clash with the man. After facing each other, Dot asked about the guy who had his own fan club. He did have one, then asked the purpose of Dot asking that. All of that clearly could easily be guessed by his three friends. The man then mocked the Dot, who had an ugly face with a very stupid brain. He felt that he could not be beaten by the Dot seen using his rose swipe magic.
ローズウィップ
を助けに来たはずなのに今始まるイケメンに嫉妬したレモンを助けに来たはず
The scene changes in the Magic Bureau. It can be seen that Walbreak, who meets someone who must have a very high position in the Magic Bureau. The bald man then tells about the 6 death row prisoners who managed to escape from prison, not only that they even eliminated all the guards there. The scene moves to the arena. Dot is seen overwhelmed because his attack doesn't work on the man at all. After that, the man admits that he is much stronger than Silva. Even so, Dot felt she would not lose to him. After warning him, Dot told his magic that it was conditional magic and its power was 5 times stronger than normal magic. After that, the man was seen using the rose swip up sold that he had. The strong attack just now seemed to have no effect at all and it caught him very easily.
実は条件付き魔法
こんなあからさまな罠
魔法の5倍の威力だ
ローズウィップグラップスエゴスタープ
After torturing her with all his rose thorns, the man seemed to belittle and despise the Dot's useless magic power. When you want to end it, Dot is seen screaming very loudly. It turns out that the magic that Dot used earlier can be triggered even if you don't step on it at all, and that's an opening to counterattack him. After Mash and the others approached him, Dot saw this man who was stylish even though he had lost to him, but without them realizing it was just a trap that made the 4 of them get absorbed into the ground. After leaving, Lance is seen separated from his 3 friends. After feeling the tremendous power behind him, right in front of him at this time there was a strange bespectacled man who wished he could fight Mash instead of Lance, and it turns out that the person in front of Lance right now is a 3rd-rank Magia Lupus named Wars. On the other hand, Dot and Finn fall together and meet 2 other Magia Lupus members, in which this pink girl is the 6th Fong, named Love Cute, while the man beside him is the 4th canine named Milo Genius. Finn also felt unlucky, because their opponents were 2 people with 2 lines of magic. Finn, who was crying and thought he would never be able to return from there, but Dot asked him not to give up before starting. And lastly, Mash was seen leaving a very dark room and heard someone's voice behind the darkness. Shortly after the torch lit, it turned out that the masked man was waiting for him. The man then introduced himself as the 2nd Fong named Abi's Razor. Razor then told him that he was very curious about the previous Mash move, even though it was very extraordinary, but it made him realize one thing. Mash, who seemed to have lied to him, completely made everything even known in Razor's eyes. Razor then also confessed to the same as him, where he feels he is someone who is hated by the world. The scene shows Lance and Worth, who will soon be fighting in a room. Then, because Lance didn't want to waste time, he immediately attacked Worth with his gravity magic called Graviole. But it turns out that Worth can avoid Lance attacks by getting into the ground using his mud magic. After that, Worth appeared from the ground, then Worth cast his shadow. When Worth tries to attack, Lance easily destroys Worth's body with his gravity magic. Suddenly Worth appeared behind Lance, then attacked him with mud magic. The attack instantly made Lance's body unable to move. Because his legs were locked with mud, Worth immediately shot mud balls at Lance's body. Then Worth said, if the Crown family is famous for its gravity magic, according to Worth, Lance comes from quite a lineage. But instead he wasted his talent. Worth invited Lance to join Lupus, because Lance's abilities weren't too bad. Worth regretted that Lance was in a weak environment, even though this Lance was a talented magic user. Because according to him the development of abilities depends on the people around him. If you associate with trash, then you will rot as well as trash. This Worth said the Edlers were trash. And he too would rot if he continued to live with them. And according to him, being a Magia Lupus is extraordinary, because you have so many talents. Even if Lance joins him, Lance will get excellent education, equipment, and potions. Then Lance said, according to him, Worth was only on the 2nd level. Worth laughed at that.
ミクズと一緒に行った自分と同じレベルの人間やるプスはいい教育に魔道具
環境ごときで左右さあ 汲み取りきれなかった。二流だと言っているんだ。
二流ね。
Then Lance immediately attacked Worth and threw him against the wall. But apparently Worth had coated the walls and floor with mud to absorb shocks. Lance, who had realized this, immediately shot the rubble into the mud with his gravitational force. Worth was surprised because it turned out that Lance could realize this. Then Lance confidently said that he was very strong. He was born with 2 signs and has magical abilities that exceed the average human. In fact, he has been in the East since childhood, then he continues to improve after all the things he already knows. Worth, who heard Lance's words, did not remain silent. He took out an essence potion. The potion was extracted magic essence taken from the other students, then he used the potion. After using the potion, this Worth's magic power increased even more. Then Worth immediately cast the magic he believed in, called Mundoro Senkozu. After that appeared a monster with the head of a goat, which he named as Mudoro Devilis. Then Worth said that it is a high-level magic that can only be used by certain dual lines. And only a few people are worthy of using it. Worth attacked Lance saying, otherwise Lance won't be able to use magic on the same level as him, because Lance is in a weakling environment. Lance dodged Worth's attack, then said that the only person who can insult his friends as stupid is only he who can insult his friends. Lance instantly counterattacks Worth with Graviolizan Kozu magic or torture stakes. With its magic power, the monster was hit by gravity from all directions and then died.
俺は価値のある人間は価値の根だ。一生
何も分かっていないようだな。大切なことを思い出せた。劣等生などと罵グラビオル、セコンズ。柱に囲まれたその棒から重力に引っ張る。
Worth immediately sat down weakly. Because of the strength he believed could be defeated, he felt that he did not believe that anyone could defeat him. After that Lance threw Worth's book that fell. Lance said that the book looked shabby because it was used so much. Lance said that his parents measured value from position or social status more than anything else. Then based on everything Worth had told him, it seems this Worth was raised the same way. On the other hand, Mash is seen facing the masked man. The masked man with incredible speed, strikes the Mash by shredding with his sword. Because Mash was just silent when he received the attack, the masked man said that Mash's strength was not equal to his. Then the masked man showed me the lemon that was being drained of his magic power. Within 30 minutes, his magic power will definitely disappear. Even a lemon can lose its lines and ability to use magic and forever. Mash then said that he was serious when he said that. Then he will take off the mask he is wearing and then smash it into pieces. Without saying much, the masked man immediately returned to attack Mash with his speed. He just kept tearing Mash's body apart. But when he plunged his sword into Mash's stomach, he thought that it would cost Mash his life. However, he couldn't draw his sword from Mash's belly. Mash just destroyed the mask, using his head. Mash, who had the wrong focus, saw the red left eye of the abyss. He asked innocently whether the abyss used a sharing lens. Then this abyss said that the eye was the evil eye or the devil's eye. Those demon eyes have the power of temporarily disabling the magic of anyone who looks at them. Magic is everything in this world, because he is a pariah he is also always the subject of ridicule by people. Mash insulted, if he feels guilty the abyss can't use the power of those eyes on him. But the abyss doesn't care about that, because he is the natural enemy of magic users. He had been feared and hated all his life by everyone, even his own master. Then the abyss used her second Eclairus magic to contain Mash. Suddenly a red arrow appeared on Mash's stomach. After that, Abyss immediately attacked Mash. Although the speed decreased, the effect of this attack was very powerful. Making the body Mash tore up and then spit out a lot of blood. Abyss said, if the wall he made could reduce the speed of everyone inside it, Dan gifted that speed to him. But when the Abyss was about to attack Mash again, Mash punched the floor until it disappeared and made the ground split open. Abyss was shocked, because Mash still has that much power. Then Mash smashed the sword he was holding. Abyss realized something, that Mash had deliberately split the floor, to narrow his range of movement. After noticing that the Abyss planned to retreat and then searched for its movement space again. But Mash was aware of it. Mash aimed at Abyss's legs until he couldn't move, then punched his stomach so hard that Abyss was blown away. Abyss couldn't believe that her second magic was destroyed by this overwhelming power. Before this body hit the floor, Mash hit him again from below, which made the Abyss body bounce back. Because they don't want to give up, the Abyss counterattacked. But the attack can be blocked by Mash with one hand. Mash, without saying much more, immediately punched the Abyss until it bounced off the wall. Then make the body of the Abyss bounce here and there as he pleases. Then ends her attack with Eritoria Spain, which sends Abyss crashing to the floor. Even though her body couldn't move anymore, the Abyss said that how would it feel if she was born normally? He is considered a disgrace to the gift of magic from God because he has evil eyes. Then his family locked him in a cell in the basement so his whereabouts would not be known. He was always given potluck food, and even then it was also rare. Until one day, his parents tried to kill him. They seemed to be at their wits' end because they have a child like him. Until finally he realized that he should never have been born into this world. But it turned out that Mr. Abel needed it, even though he knew that he was only used as a tool. But he apparently couldn't live up to Mr. Abel's expectations. Surely after this he will return to being someone no one wants. Mash said that even though he never felt in his position, he accepted Abyss as a friend. Abyss feels jealous of Mash, because it's very easy to get along with anyone. However, as if an invitation to be his friend was impossible, because all this time he had demon eyes. Mash's attitude towards her will definitely change one day. Abyss reminded Mash not to go too far, because he won't be able to beat Abel's body. But still doesn't care about that, because whatever will happen he will punch Abel's face until he is black and blue. Then when Mash walked out of the Abyss, Mash said that he would not change his mind. No matter how much the world hates your eyes, no matter what others say about you, my attitude towards you will never change. Thank you, viewers, who have always faithfully watched the videos on this channel from start to finish. Remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video if you enjoy our content. See you in the next video.